The 9th of October. In the early hours, Pakistan reportedly launched airstrikes inside Afghanistan. The strikes targeted areas in Kabul, Khost, Jalalabad and Paktika. What Islamabad says are being used by the Taliban Pakistan or TTP. The main target was reportedly Nur Wali Masood, the group's leader. The attack in Abdul Haq Square, Kabul, was aimed at eliminating him. But soon after, the TTP released an unverified audio clip claiming Masood was alive. The Taliban strongly condemned the strikes, calling them a violation of Afghan sovereignty. Pakistan did not confirm or deny its role, but military spokesperson Lieutenant General Ahmed Sharif Chaudhry said there was evidence that Afghan soil was being used to carry out terrorism in Pakistan. The incident marked the start of one of the most serious escalations between the one-time allies. The Taliban denies giving haven to militants to attack Pakistan and accuses the Pakistani military of spreading misinformation about Afghanistan. Tensions peaked on the 11th of October when clashes broke out along multiple points of the Pakistan-Afghanistan 2,600-kilometer border. Pakistan claimed the fighting began after unprovoked attacks from the Afghan side. The Taliban said the clashes were a response to the airstrikes carried out 2 days earlier. Both sides reported casualties. Pakistan claims to have killed over 200 Taliban fighters and other militants, while the Taliban says it had killed 58 Pakistani soldiers in return. According to reports, dozens of people were killed and hundreds wounded, including civilians. On October 12th, both countries accused each other of violating their borders. By the night of October 13th, the Taliban had launched new attacks against Pakistani positions in Kunar and Nangarhar provinces. For days, the border region saw heavy exchanges of fire, the worst violence since the Taliban's return to power in 2021. After weeks of deadly clashes along the border, Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed for an immediate ceasefire on the 19th of October. The ceasefire, mediated by Qatar and Turkey, brought a temporary stop to the violence, but clashes revealed deep-rooted tensions that continue to define their relationship. As both sides maintain a tense calm, questions remain about what lies ahead. On WION Wide Angle, we take a look at how deep the current tensions are between Pakistan and Afghanistan. In the southwest region, the unrest of Balochistan grows, and in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, anti-government protests intensified in October across the region. Is Pakistani military using Afghanistan-Pakistan clashes as a distractor? What role does Pak Army play in the country's governance and economy? How have serving generals come to define the political landscape of Pakistan? And can Shehbaz Sharif tackle the current challenges? All this and much more ahead on the show. On the 19th of October, a ceasefire was announced by Afghanistan and Pakistan. It brought respite from the worst flare-up of tensions between the neighboring countries in years. For nearly 2 weeks, Afghanistan and Pakistan exchanged military attacks that killed dozens of people, injured hundreds, and threatened to turn the attacks into a conflict. But after meeting in Doha on the 18th of October, under the mediation of Qatar and Turkey, Afghanistan and Pakistan vowed to de-escalate and to meet again later this month. Terrorism from Afghanistan on Pakistan's soil will be stopped immediately, Pakistan's Minister of Defense Khawaja Asif said on social media. Neither country will undertake any hostile actions against the other, Sabiullah Mujahid, spokesman for Afghan-Taliban, wrote on X. The underlying dispute revolves around attacks in Pakistan by a terrorist group, Tehreek-e-Taliban. Pakistan has long accused Kabul of harboring the Pakistani Taliban and making no effort to halt its activities. It's a charge the Taliban denies. The Taliban government in Afghanistan has denied hosting militant groups, even as attacks by Tehreek-e-Taliban, also known as the Pakistani Taliban or TTP, have skyrocketed since the Taliban reclaimed power in Afghanistan in 2021. Although observers have reportedly said that TTP leaders get financial support from the Taliban and that its fighters train in Afghanistan with Al-Qaeda's support.
The Tehreek-e-Taliban in Pakistan, or the Pakistani Taliban, have refuge and support in Afghanistan, and in the support of the Afghan Taliban. And since the Afghan Taliban came back to power in August of 2021, the TTP has had a very significant resurgence in Pakistan. In August alone, TTP attacks claimed over 300 people. I think it's very ironic, of course, right? Because why did India bomb targets in Pakistan? Was because of Pakistan supported terrorism in India. And so the Pakistanis are also getting a little bit of their own medicine.
Pakistan has not recognized the Taliban as Afghanistan's legitimate authority. However, Pakistan supported the Taliban in the early 1990s and welcomed the group's return to power in Afghanistan in 2021. Reportedly, the TTP provided recruits to the Afghan Taliban during the 20-year war against US and NATO forces. After the Kabul takeover, then Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan said that Afghans had broken the shackles of slavery. With the regime change, Pakistan was unable to persuade the Afghan Taliban to crack down on the TTP. In fact, the Afghan Taliban mediated talks between Pakistan and the TTP, leading to the release of dozens of TTP prisoners in Pakistan and a temporary ceasefire between the Pakistani government and the TTP. After the ceasefire ended in December that year, Pakistan accused TTP of increased attacks.
I think whatever Pakistan is saying has largely been sanctified, endorsed by the team of the United Nations as well as other countries, whether it's Pakistan, Iran, Uzbekistan in particular, China. They all have their grievances with the Afghan Taliban, that they have refused basically to take any action or rein in all these terrorist groups. The Afghans may call them like Mujahideen, but the problem is that these groups are a source of violence in the respective countries. And that's why they have been calling on the Afghan Taliban to do something about it. The Taliban have their own reasons, because these terrorist or militant groups have been part of their anti-US NATO fight.
The recent flare-up between Pakistan and Afghanistan brought the Durand Line, the boundary between the two countries, into the limelight. The mention of the Durand Line as border in the ceasefire statement released by Qatar has reportedly upset the Afghan officials, prompting Qatar to issue a revised statement. So what is a Durand Line, and why do Afghans refuse to consider it as a border? The Durand Line is the boundary line established in the Hindu Kush in 1893. The line runs through the tribal lands between Afghanistan and British India. It is a legacy of the 19th century great game between the Russian and British empires. In 1893, the agreement demarcating what became known as the Durand Line was signed between the British civil servant Sir Henry Mortimer Durand and Amir Abdur Rahman, then the Afghan ruler. Abdur Rahman became king in 1880, 2 years after the end of the Second Afghan War, in which the British took control of several areas that were part of the Afghan kingdom. His agreement with Durand demarcated the limits of his and British India's spheres of influence of the Afghan frontier with India. With independence in 1947, Pakistan inherited the Durand Line. And with it also the Pashtun rejection of the line and Afghanistan's refusal to recognize it. In modern times, the Durand Line has marked a 2,600-kilometer long border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. While Islamabad recognizes the Durand Line as the international border, Afghanistan refuses to do so. Successive Afghan governments, including the Taliban, have dubbed it an artificial division that splits Pashtun tribal lands, undermining Afghan sovereignty. In the recent years, the border line has been a flashpoint between the two countries, with Islamabad fencing it and Afghan guards tearing down parts of it. While Afghans reject the line as a colonial relic, it is a matter of territorial integrity for Pakistan.
Well, Afghans, I think, love to live in the past. The 1893 demarcation by the British Indian rulers at that time, stays very much, and Pakistan inherited that. And in 1947, a new country emerged, and that is Pakistan. So their argument, the Afghans' argument, is rooted in the British promise of a review of the Durand Line, but the British were gone in 1947. And the very fact that Afghanistan recognized Pakistan at the United Nations in 1947, basically that meant that it has recognized the 2,560-kilometer long border with Pakistan. And still, for political expediency, they keep stoking up this issue.
Amid escalating tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan after recent border clashes, Pakistan Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir warned that any breach of the country's borders would be met with a firm and decisive response. Munir also spoke about the ongoing counter-terrorism operations in Balochistan, describing the province as the pride of Pakistan and praising its people as resilient and patriotic. Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, both bordering Afghanistan, according to Pakistan, it continues to bear the brunt of terrorist violence, accounting for over 96% of attacks nationwide.
Taliban regime must rein in the proxies who have sanctuaries in Afghanistan and are using Afghan soil to perpetrate heinous attacks inside Pakistan. Be rest assured that, like our victory in the conventional domain, every state proxy of our neighbor will be razed to dust, inshallah.
Experts and analysts believe Munir is using aggressive rhetoric towards the Taliban to deflect from the domestic problems, which include a fragile economy and political unrest. In the 77 years since Pakistan was established, its politics have long been governed by the whims and fancies of its military generals. The most powerful man in Pakistan is not the head of the government, but the chief of the army. Since General Asim Munir took over as Pakistan's army chief more than 2 years ago, he established an iron grip over the army's ranks and bent government policy to his will. Pakistan's political architecture is characterized by a facade of democracy. Elections are held, parliaments are seated, and prime ministers take oaths under the constitution. But the elections and civilian governments operate under the military's strict control. The influence of the military in Pakistan has turned governance into a child's play. Through control of the intelligence services, the judiciary, and media, it decides who governs and how long they last. Civilian leaders are tolerated only so long as they remain compliant. No prime minister in Pakistan's history has ever completed a full term, not even one. Let's rewind to the year 1947 and take a look at Pakistan's prime ministers whose tenures ended prematurely. In 1947, after Pakistan became independent, its founding father, or Qaid-e-Azam as he was called, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, took charge as the Governor-General of the newly formed nation. He maintained a powerful central government under his authority, but when Jinnah died in 1948, Khawaja Nasimuddin became the Governor-General, but the real power vested with Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. A leader of the Pakistan movement, the Muslim League leader and finance minister was appointed the first Prime Minister of the country in 1947 by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. After completing 4 years and 63 days since assuming office on August 14, Pakistan's first Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan was assassinated on 6 October 1951 while addressing a rally at Rawalpindi's Company Bagh. After the death of Pakistan's first Prime Minister, Khawaja Nasimuddin, the then Governor-General, was asked to step down to take over the post of Premier. He lasted just 1 year and 182 days until 7th April 1953, before Governor-General Ghulam Muhammad dismissed him on the grounds of being unable to control the widespread anti-Ahmadiyya riots and agitations in Lahore and East Pakistan. Nasimuddin was removed despite enjoying the confidence of the parliament. Many historians believe it was this removal that began the unhealthy tradition of removing elected governments in Pakistan. One of the shortest-serving prime ministers of Pakistan, Chudrigar, was asked to serve as prime minister in October 1957. Barely 2 months later, he lost the confidence of his party and coalition partners and resigned on the 16th of December 1957. Next came Feroz Khan Noon, who took office on 16th December 1957. He was dismissed after martial law was imposed in Pakistan a year later. Noon's tenure lasted less than 10 months. Towards the end of the Bangladesh Liberation War, General Yahya Khan appointed Nurul Amin, a politician from East Pakistan, as the Prime Minister on the 7th of December 1971. Yahya Khan himself had to resign after Pakistan lost the war against India and lost East Pakistan. Amin was also asked to leave. He had been Prime Minister for just 13 days. Next came Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. After the 1971 war, Zulfikar Bhutto was sworn in as the President of Pakistan on 20th December. With his presidency, Bhutto got the control of the military. After this, Bhutto went on to become the Prime Minister of Pakistan in 1973. He is considered the architect of the Pakistani Constitution of 1973. In 1977, the military, led by General Zia-ul-Haq, staged a military coup and Bhutto was eventually jailed and executed. Muhammad Khan Junejo took office in March 1985, but he was dismissed in 1988. It was then that the daughter of former Premier Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, Benazir Bhutto, took over as the first woman Prime Minister of Pakistan in 1988. Her government was dismissed in 1990 on charges of corruption. Bhutto's tenure lasted 1 year and 8 months. Effectively the longest-serving Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif became the 12th Prime Minister after winning the election in 1990. His government was also dismissed on charges similar to Bhutto in 1993. Benazir Bhutto returned to power for her second tenure in 1993. She was dismissed by the president once again on charges of misgovernance on November 5, 1996. Sharif returned for his second non-consecutive term after winning a mandate in the February 1997 elections. He remained in power for less than 3 years before Army Chief Pervez Musharraf mounted a coup in October 1999. Yusuf Raza Gilani was elected Prime Minister in 2008. Gilani had to leave office in June 2012. Nawaz Sharif was elected Prime Minister for a third time on June 5, 2013. In 2017, the Supreme Court of Pakistan dismissed him on charges of concealing assets. He served as Prime Minister for 4 years and 2 months. After Sharif was disqualified as the Prime Minister, former cricketer and Pakistan-Tehreek-e-Insaf or PTI leader Imran Khan became the Prime Minister of a coalition government. Amid much fanfare in the 2018 elections, relatively stable Khan's tenure soon began to unwind. A dispute with the military over its leadership appeared to cost him its support. Khan was voted out of power by a no-confidence vote by the opposition in 2022. In April 2022, Shehbaz Sharif, the younger brother of Nawaz Sharif, succeeded Imran Khan as the Prime Minister. With his brother in self-exile in London, he led the party, the Pakistan Muslim League, and became Premier when a no-confidence vote in Parliament ousted Khan from power. Shehbaz Sharif returned to the role of Prime Minister in March 2024 after the February 8, 2024 polls. Sharif had held the position until August 2023, when the Parliament was dissolved ahead of the February election.
I think the biggest reason is really the Pakistan Army. The Pakistan Army has a huge commitment to ensuring that democracy fails, believes that the Pakistan Army is the most important institution and the most capable institution to protect Pakistan's ideological as well as territorial frontiers.
In May 2025, Pakistan Army Chief General Asim Munir was promoted to the topmost military rank of Field Marshal. Pakistan's cabinet, led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, approved a proposal to promote the Army Chief. Before Munir, the title of Field Marshal was conferred only once in Pakistan's history, to Ayub Khan in 1959. The announcement of Munir's position came days after a series of military escalations against India, which began with the terrorist attack on 22nd of April in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. Days after the attack, his April 16 speech targeting Hindus and India was seen as a signal to escalating tensions that culminated in the Pahalgam attack. Much of Munir's annoyance against India stems from the realization that Pakistan is falling way behind India economically, militarily, and geopolitically. But India's Operation Sindoor was a precise response to the Pahalgam attack. India's strikes targeted terrorist groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, which Pakistan had long been harboring and using against India. Pakistan's retaliatory operation saw its drones and missiles neutralized, with India hitting back even harder. 4 days of conflict with India revealed Pakistan's failure to contest with India's military prowess. Now, the growing hostility with Afghanistan has only complicated matters. Munir's elevation to Field Marshal wasn't for any military gain, but it is more about tightening his grip on a country that is already grappling with the fallout of his failed governance and strategies.